Page 27, When the Saints Go Marching In. On page 26, they're introducing you to a new note. In the left hand, the A is right above the G. Here, this A. It's the A below middle C. In your C position, the thumb goes up. It's like the little finger goes, these two notes, well the thumb has to cover the two notes too. And that'll be for both hands. We'll get to the right hand eventually. Right now, just we're working with left hand. So at the bottom of the page, you see the chord, your C chord? Well, that other one now, that's an F chord. C chord. These three chords, the C chord, the G7 chord that you've already had, this F chord, these three chords are super important and I'll explain why they're super important as we go through the book. Just know there's a real reason why these particular chords are being presented to you. They're important. So, I mean, there's a lot of different chords, but these three are important. So just know it, that you're going to be able to do it in both hands, and I'm sure eventually they'll introduce you to the right hand stuff too. Now, on page 27, they're also introducing you to what's known as an incomplete measure. It has other names, pickup measure, anacrusis, various, well, whatever. You see, the idea is, according to the time signature, every measure has to have a certain number of counts in it, a certain number of beats, beat or a count or whatever you want to call it. Well, in 4/4 time, which this is, every measure has to have the equivalent of 4 quarter notes. If you look at the first measure, it's only got 3. So we're already in trouble. So what they do, typically, not always, but most of the time, you're going to take the last measure of the piece. Look at the bottom, the last line, last measure, it has 1 beat in it. And they take that last measure and they split it. And they take whatever they need at the end of that measure and stick it at the top of the piece, and that becomes the pickup measure, an incomplete measure. And then the rest of the measure stays at the bottom. So when you put them together, it's still 4 counts, and the music theorists are happy and everybody can go have a party or whatever. But it's important to us because we need to know where the beat is. I need to know where the beginning of a measure is. I haven't talked about natural accents, and maybe this is a good time to talk about them. There's natural accents in music, and there's a bunch of them. Right now, just know that the strongest natural accent in music is the first beat of a measure. And it doesn't matter what the time signature is or any of that junk. It's the first beat of a measure. And a natural accent is an accent. You haven't had accent. Accents are where you give it a little extra oomph. A little extra, just a little bit. You play it a little louder than the others. Well, a natural accent is an accent that you feel. In 4/4 time, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You feel that. In 3/4 time, that we had 3/4, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's like a waltz. You feel this. We have to feel a lot of stuff in music because music is an emotional experience. It's a feely thingy. Well, when you have a pickup beat, you're not starting on that natural accent. You're starting on some other. So when you get to the first beat of the next measure, we want to feel that. I need to know that it here. See, I don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it makes a difference. And I've heard piano teachers performing, leaving out the natural accents. They don't feel them. And I couldn't tell where the beat was. I couldn't tell what the time signature was. I couldn't tell where the measures started and ending. I couldn't tell none of it. It just one note after another. That's all. They just played notes. And it's important in music that you develop that on top of all this other stuff that you're trying to tackle. Think about this beat. Here you're starting on beat 2. So it's 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Don't force a natural accent. Feel it. And if you'll feel it, you'll play it. I'm not getting into psychology and all that junk. It just happens to work out that way. A real good pianist knows what he's doing and is into the music. You can tell where these natural accents are. It's wonderful. It adds everything to the music to have it there. So on a pickup measure, just know you're not starting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That's an important with a pickup measure that you feel the natural accents when it comes in. They give you a line at the bow, the warm-up thingy on the chords. I don't do the warm-up stuff. You can do the warm-up stuff up there, but the point is, so far as I'm concerned, if you're going to play that line up above with these chords, do it in both hands. Don't just do it in one hand. Do both hands. I skip all that. I ain't interested in warming up. I want to play music. Yeah. Now this piece, 4/4 time, we're still in C position. At the bottom you see that it's repeated. We're going to play it twice. It's got words to it. Sing if you want to. It's got words in parentheses. That's for the background singers. If they want to sing, they can sing those notes. Whatever. Look at the third line down, or second line down. Let's do that one. The second and third measures, the left hand you have these rests. So it's rest, play. Make sure you're accurate there, because the right hand has half notes. You can play and play. So watch out on the rhythm here. It may not be what you think it is, so be careful. They don't have any slurs or phrases. They don't have any slurs. Let's put it that way. The phrases are there, they're just not marked. Follow the sentences in the words and you'll find the phrases. So, oh, when the saints go marching in, that's a phrase. That's a musical thought. So you would connect all of that. When the saints go marching in. And then in the second line, first measure, you're going to start a new phrase. So I'm going to lift up before I go on, a little silence. Again, at the third line down, we're ending a phrase, but they give you a quarter rest here, so you don't have to worry about lifting up. You're going to. It's a rest. And then you start a new phrase. And according to, there's a comma after number, and that can end a phrase there, because it doesn't have to be a whole sentence. It can be a part of a sentence. So a comma can do it, or a semicolon, or some break in the words can do it. So we can end the phrase in the third line at the end of the line here. And then in the next line, when you start with the saints, you can lift up before going on a little bit of silence. Or you can forget that and say, I don't want to break in the phrase there. I want it all connected. Which means the last two lines is going to be one phrase, you're going to connect them all. That's an interpretive thing, and you have a choice. It's up to you how you want to do it. So a phrase doesn't have to have a slur over it. It's a little harder when they don't give the words, and you don't know where the phrases are. You just, how do you feel it? Where do you think the phrase should be? And that's how you go. And that's where people have different opinions. No, I don't think that's a phrase. This is a phrase over here. Yeah, well, I don't like the color of your dog, so leave it alone. So let's try this out slowly. The melody is in the right hand. Bring out the melody. That forte at the beginning, the loud, applies to melody. It looks to me like that's the only dynamic marking you get. So it's going to be loud. Huh? But we are going to play it twice. So let's give it a shot and see. I'm going to give us 5 counts. A full 4 for a measure, plus 1 because we come in on beat 2. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, go.